They laughed at her. Not once, not twice, but many times. When a young Filipino woman first appeared on CNN, some viewers didn't see her talent, her skill, or her courage. They only saw her accent. They joked about it online. Some mocked her on social media. Others said she didn't sound like a real anchor. In a world where news anchors were expected to come from certain places, sound a certain way, and look a certain way, she was different. But this is not a story about people laughing. This is a story about what happened next. Because something unexpected began to unfold. One day, one clip of her reporting went viral. Viewers noticed something the critics had ignored. She never stumbled. She never panicked. Her voice never shook. She delivered news with calm strength and warmth. People began listening to the words she spoke, not just how she pronounced them. And suddenly, the same world that laughed at her started to love her. Her name was known, but her story was bigger than a name. She represented every immigrant who was ever told their accent made them less intelligent. Every worker told they were not professional enough. Every dreamer who had to fight twice as hard to sit at the same table as others. She didn't walk onto CNN because someone opened the door for her. She kicked that door open herself. Many viewers had never seen a Filipino woman anchoring international news. Some said, she's not supposed to be here. But who decides who belongs on a world stage? Isn't talent universal? Isn't intelligence found in every country, every skin tone, every voice? Why do some people still think a person must sound like them to be respected? If you're still watching right now, here's a question. Have you ever been judged for how you speak, where you come from, or what you look like? If yes, leave a comment and share your experience. Your story matters too. Her journey to CNN was not a straight path. She grew up thousands of miles away, where news anchors didn't have fancy studios, big salaries, or millions of viewers. She came from a place where journalists told stories not because it was glamorous, but because public truth matters. She learned discipline, curiosity, and hard work long before she ever touched a global stage. When she spoke, she didn't just deliver news. She brought a piece of home with her. So when she became a CNN anchor, many Filipinos around the world felt proud. For the first time, someone sounded like their cousin, their sister, their mother, or themselves. Representation is powerful. But representation is also dangerous, because when one person rises, critics appear too. Some viewers sent hateful messages. They said she didn't belong on American television. They focused more on her accent than the news she was reporting. They mocked her English, even though she spoke it fluently. They made jokes about the Philippines, ignoring the fact that millions of Filipinos speak several languages, work abroad, and keep entire industries running. Some of these comments were not just rude, they were cruel. But she did not respond with anger. She didn't shout back at them online. She didn't post rants. She did something far more powerful. She got better. Every broadcast, she delivered more confidence, more clarity, and more professionalism. She proved that skill is louder than hate. And then something changed. Viewers started defending her. Some said, her English is fine. Your attitude is the problem. Others said, she is the reason I watch the news. People admired how she stayed calm, respectful, and intelligent. They loved how she explained complex world events in simple language. She didn't try to sound like someone else. She stayed herself, and people loved her for it. Soon, she had fans. Real fans. Not just from the Philippines, viewers from America, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. People loved her smile, her warmth, and her honesty. They felt like she was speaking to them, not down at them. Many said she was the first anchor who made the news feel like a conversation, not a lecture. Why do you think viewers connected with her? Was it her confidence? Her accent? Or was it because she stood for everyone who was underestimated? Share your thoughts in the comments. With growing support, something surprising happened. She became one of the most loved anchors on CNN's international programs. The same viewers who once laughed at her now shared her videos proudly. People said she inspired them to be confident about how they speak. Some viewers with accents said they finally felt seen. Immigrants said she reminded them that their voice matters. Students said they dreamed of becoming journalists because of her. Imagine that. The girl they once mocked became the woman they admired. If you're enjoying this story so far, remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. You might inspire someone who needs confidence today. But her journey wasn't only about success. Behind the camera, the pressure was real. Broadcasting live, worldwide, means every mistake becomes global. One wrong word, one wrong tone, and millions could judge you. And she knew the world was watching. She knew critics were waiting for her to slip just once so they could say, "See? She doesn't belong here." Yet she did something most people wouldn't expect. She didn't hide. She didn't soften her accent. She didn't pretend to be someone else. She stayed Filipino, proudly. And viewers respected that. Still, one moment changed everything. Not for the worse, but forever. One broadcast, one event, one emotional moment that the world never forgot. It became the turning point that silenced the hate and made her completely unstoppable. And that moment didn't happen in a studio. It happened in a place no one expected. It happened far from bright lights and cameras. She was sent on assignment to cover a disaster. Homes destroyed, families crying, children searching for parents. There were no teleprompters, no perfect hair, no studio makeup. Just chaos, dust, and heartbreak. She stood there holding a microphone, surrounded by people who had lost everything. And for the first time, viewers noticed something that could never be taught in journalism school. She cared. Her voice trembled, not because she was nervous, but because she felt the pain of the people she was interviewing. She held a woman's hand while the woman talked about losing her home. She comforted a crying child between shots. During her live report, her words were calm, but her eyes showed compassion. Nothing about this moment was fake. Nothing was performed for the camera. She was human before she was an anchor. Clips of that report spread across social media. People wrote, "She made us feel the story, and she isn't just reporting, she understands." Even those who once mocked her accent now praised her heart. They realized professionalism is not about sounding perfect. It's about being real. Soon, foreign viewers started searching her name. They wanted to know who this Filipino anchor was. They wanted to see more of her reports. They wanted to watch her because she made news feel human again. And as more people watched, something surprising began to happen on CNN's own social pages. Comments changed from hate to love. "She's my favorite anchor. She explains news better than anyone else. She makes me feel safe when the world feels scary." Isn't it fascinating how quickly opinions can change when someone dares to stay authentic? Why do you think kindness has such power even in a tough world? Drop your answer in the comments. But her journey wasn't only about touching hearts. She also shocked critics with her intelligence. During one interview, a powerful political guest tried to avoid answering a difficult question. Many journalists might have backed down, but she didn't. Calmly, respectfully, and without raising her voice, she pressed for the truth. She wasn't aggressive, but she was firm. Viewers were amazed. The interviewer they once underestimated had control of the room. She showed the world that strength doesn't require shouting. Dignity can be louder than volume. A clip of that interview went viral. Comments flooded in. "She's fearless. She asks what everyone else is afraid to ask. This is real journalism." And then something even bigger happened. She became a representation of pride for millions of Filipinos around the world. Workers overseas said they watched her before going to their jobs. Students said she inspired them to speak confidently even with accents. Families said they gathered around the TV just to watch someone who reminded them of home. For many, she was not just an anchor. She was proof that a Filipino can sit on one of the world's biggest news stages without apologizing for who they are. Have you ever seen someone succeed and felt proud because their victory felt like yours too? Share it in the comments. Your story might motivate someone else watching. But success comes with pressure. The more she rose, the more the world expected from her. Long hours, emotional stories, live broadcasts during dangerous events. She traveled through storms, conflicts, and tragedies. There were nights she barely slept, days when she carried sadness home from work. Some people think anchors just read from screen, but they forget something important. These anchors are human. They absorb the pain they report. Still, each day, she returned to the camera with strength. One night, after a heavy report, she said something simple, almost whispered. We all need to remember that behind every headline is a real person. Viewers felt it. People commented. She speaks from the heart. That clip reached millions. By now, she was no longer just known. She was respected. Not for trying to fit in, but for daring to stand out. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Someone you know might need this message. And then came a moment nobody expected. A major global event shook the world. Every news channel was competing for accurate information. Some anchors looked stressed, others looked overwhelmed. But the Filipino anchor remained calm. She explained the crisis step by step, in a way everyone could understand. Families, students, teachers, even non-English speakers said her voice helped them stay informed without panic. Her explanation became the most shared news clip that week on multiple platforms. People wrote, she should be the one anchoring every big event. She makes complicated news simple. She talks like she actually cares about the people watching. Soon, companies invited her to speak. Universities asked her to mentor young journalists. She became a symbol of what global media should look like: diverse, human, intelligent, compassionate. But success also brought something surprising: apologies. Some of the same people who once mocked her accent began sending messages saying they were wrong. They said they respected her now. They admitted they judged too quickly. Isn't it powerful when the world realizes that the person they laughed at became the person they learned from? Yet, even then, she didn't brag. She didn't call out her haters. She simply kept doing her job. Her success was her answer. Why do you think some people only respect others after seeing their achievements? Should respect come first, or does the world expect proof? Leave your thoughts in the comments, because your opinion matters. Her journey inspired thousands. But there was still one question people couldn't stop asking. How did she keep going when the world was laughing at her? The truth was deeper than anyone knew. There was a reason she never broke. A reason she walked into CNN with confidence. A reason she never apologized for her identity. A reason she never changed her voice to please others. It all began long before CNN, before the cameras, before the internet, before her name meant something. There was a childhood moment that shaped her entire life. A moment that taught her to stand strong even when the world tried to silence her. And that moment changed everything.